Well, welcome everybody to our living room here in the Great Lakes region of North America. I'm Peter Linebaugh, a historian, and I'm with my comrades and friends, Michaela Brennan, my partner, Tony Morgan, Daryl Graham, and Donald Roberts. And we are honored to be able to share with you on this 800th anniversary of Magna Carta our views and our thoughts and our experience, especially from the last year with Black Lives Matter, and how Magna Carta and the Charter of the Forest and the Emancipation Proclamation means so much to us. And I thought to show that to you, we would each read something from those charters. And Michaela, you were going to do the famous chapter 39.
Going first. No free man shall be seized or imprisoned or stripped of his rights or possessions, or outlawed or exiled, or deprived of his standing in any other way, nor will we proceed with force against him, or send others to do so, except by the lawful judgment of his equals, or by the due process of law. Chapter 39. To no one will we sell, to no one deny or delay rights or justice. Chapter 30. At her husband's death, she shall have meanwhile her reasonable estopers in the common. Chapter 7. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, thanks, Michaela. Beautiful.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Do we have to read them in order?
We don't have to, huh?
Okay. I would like to read a quote from the Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln proclaimed that after January 1st, 1863, slaves shall be thenceforward and forever free, and the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons, and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom. And these are more than just words. This is in a region, in a place, and in a time where these principles, they expand over decades and over centuries, and they resonate even louder this day. So as you hear and as you reflect on what principles make humans humans and what makes justice justice, understand that on this day, it still continues to ring.
Yeah, Tony, the reason I'm so moved by this and why it's important that our friends and comrades in England hear it is that because of the festival of Juneteenth. Like the festival of Runnymede on the 15th of June, it's also a Juneteenth.
It is anniversary to be remembered,
yeah,
and to be embodied.
So I think the struggle against slavery and the struggle for democracy in England can both be celebrated on Juneteenth.
They can be.
Yeah.
There's enough to coincide, enough to connect the movements. Absolutely.
Quotations from the Forest Charter. Chapter 1. If he hath afforested his own wood, then it shall remain forest. saving the common of herbage, and of other things in the same forest to them, who before were accustomed to have the same.
Beautiful. That common of herbage, that means you can graze your livestock. And if it's a cow, you've got milk, you've got cheese,
Butter.
whey, which Richard was telling us was like the first pop drink. And what else? Occasionally steak. But so you might not own any land, but you have access to the commons. That's the principle there. So when it's calling for herbage, in the forests, in the king's woods, that means a commoner. The king can't throw you out. Yeah. And I'd like to read one also from the Charter of the Forest. And it's chapter 10, which says, "No man from henceforth shall lose either life or member for killing our deer." This is the first step in the abolition of capital punishment. And I believe that all reform and all freedom must begin with the abolition of capital punishment. Because the presumption is that people can change, people can learn. So if you kill someone, you've denied that possibility. But that's my own opinion. But going back 800 years, I like to see it, done.
Frederick Douglass, 1854. Let the engine of the Magna Carta beat against the Jericho walls of slavery, and no 7 days blowing of the ram's horn would be necessary.
All right. I like the way you said that. Can you do that next one?
T. Thomas Fortune. The fires of revolution are incorporated into the Magna Carta of our liberties, and no human power can avert the awful eruption of which will eventually burst upon us as Mount Vesuvius burst forth upon Herculaneum and Pompeii.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Timothy Thomas Fortune, he ghost wrote Booker T. Washington's autobiography. He was the man who created the expression African American. And he edited the most popular newspaper in the world of the 1920s called The Negro World.
Didn't he have some sisters that were school teachers?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Michaela early was reminding me of one thing that we must not forget in this video, and that is the principle of reparation, which is found in some of the closing chapters of Magna Carta. And that principle says that the wealth that has been taken by the 1% must be returned if justice is to be served. Yeah.
I like that.
I concur.
As do I.
Well, the question of reparations on this side of the pond must include the Indians, as well as the ex-slaves, the freedmen, and I don't see how we can get around all the immigrant labor that this country owes.
Yeah.
So basically, we could say the working class as a whole and all its textured layers, which inevitably includes the indigenous peoples of both North America and South America.
Right on.
I would just like to add, when you think about the Magna Carta or the Emancipation Proclamation or the Forest Charter, that these documents have become what you would notice standards for the world. And I think like standards are not forced, but standards are accepted when they do just for humankind. So I think that the principles of which they were created were to do justice for humankind. And I would like to call people back to that resounding call to set the standard of justice.
All right.